Hi everyone, welcome to episode 2 of Anime Snack Time, the April edition. I'd just like to welcome the regular hosts, myself, Clay. We've also got Dinatron.
Hi.
And Scott.
Howdy.
A.K.A. Scott.
Howdy.
Yeah, so this episode we've got a whole bunch of great stuff, a couple of new features and a couple of the regular features. And we just want to thank everyone straight off the bat for listening to episode 1. We had overwhelming over 2,000 downloads, which was fantastic. So yeah, let's get straight into the April edition of Anime Snack Time.
And now it's time for the latest news with Dinotron's dispatches from the front line.
It's never a dull month in the world of anime. I've got all sorts of news, releases and stuff to tell you guys about, so let's jump straight into it. Our big release this month, it's probably one of the biggest anime films we're likely to do for the next couple of years. I know I said that last month with Howes, but this is true. Ghost in the Shell 2, Innocence.
Fill me in.
The perpetrator killed the owner a few minutes ago at the first crime scene, then ran off. He was called in anonymously. At the second crime scene down that back alley, 2 cops were ambushed and killed. All access points are blocked. We'll storm in there in a couple of minutes.
Hey! Hold it, he's from Section 9. He's a cyborg cop. It's not healthy to get in his way.
Roger that. E-Police wants us to intervene. They're asking me for a data link.
Section 9 has priority. Tell them their request is denied.
Questions, guys?
Yeah, basically, I don't know. I guess we'll just give a bit of a roundup and a few sort of little points of interest for Ghost in the Shell Innocence. It's been, I guess, 4 years since... 4 years in the making. And when did the original get released? Was 94 or...?
Yeah, I think it was about 94, 95. So it's been a long while coming. Basically, this is the further adventures of Section 9. Basho, who you'd all be familiar with from Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex, goes out to investigate a murder. Some robot has killed their owner.
Some love dolls, I believe. And
then it goes from there. There's a whole bunch of dark undercurrents, and he's joined by Togusa, who you also would have seen in Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex.
And just like the first film was like, the state of the art for computer graphics when that came out, the second film's like just taking it to a whole new level. The graphics are amazing, especially that elephant.
Yeah, purely from a visual point of view, like even if you weren't that into like the sci-fi anime, you'd just be blown away purely from the visuals. So,
well, it's interesting that you should say that, because this film was actually nominated for a Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival, which is not every one of our anime films we can say that about.
No, probably only how many?
Possibly one. This one.
This is sort of the film that's got a bit of crossover potential, not just the anime fans, but also like a wider sort of film buff sort of market as well.
Especially if you've done a fourth year in literature, because there's a hell of a lot of like literary references in there that I certainly wasn't familiar with.
Well, that's the cool thing about Ghost in the Shell 2. You can appreciate it for like, Basho charging into a room full of Yakuza and blasting them all away, and it looks really slick and all that sort of stuff. That elephant scene took like 2 years or something to animate. It was a majorly long period of time. But anyway, and then on the other side of it, there's all these references to literature and there's philosophy and everything else. So it's a really clever film.
It's definitely something worth watching, more than once. So yeah, something to have on DVD is definitely on the cards there.
It's the onion of anime because it has so many layers.
Abandoned artificial satellites, tanks jettisoned from shuttles, refuse generated during space station construction. This vast amount of junk floating in space debris, is a very serious threat to everything in orbit. This is a story of 2075, a time in which this space debris has become a major problem.
Planetes is a series we've got debuting also in April. This is how can I describe this? The simple solution, the simple description I should say, is Junkman in space. It's the year 2075, and space is a way of life, and with that becomes regular now that they're living in space. Problems, which is space debris. So all this stuff's floating around, and even like a small loose screw can ruin a whole commercial space flight. So it's pretty interesting.
And do they have like celebrities like we do that go through? Do they have like news people like we do that go through celebrity space junk? Like, is there like a Ray Martin that's going through like space junk?
They don't touch on it in the show, but I mean, what they do touch on in the show is that life is very much like life today, except for the fact that they're in space and it's 50 years from now. So if you can get people still have the same kind of relationship problems, and people are still human.
And junk problems.
And junk problems.
It's definitely a unique idea for an anime series. It's definitely something that we've probably never seen before from an anime series.
And there's a companion piece to Ghost in the Shell 2, right? You got Ghost in the Shell 2, which is one way of looking at the future, which is like, well, the future's going to change everybody in these really amazing, bizarre ways. And then there's the other way of looking at it, which is, well, people are changing and times are being, things are moving forward, but not in quite such a radical way. And this is more the other side of it. Here's my big artistic word for today's podcast. A couple, actually. What I really like about Planetes is the way it juxtaposes everyday life with the majesty of space. That's my undergraduate comment for today, guys.
Kind of like working at NASA.
That's right. Anyway.
Hey, wait a minute. The sign says ladies' restroom. We can't go in there.
Why? Because we're not wearing dresses? Go on. Get in there, smart guy.
You can't be serious.
We're going to show you what happens when you get in our way. And considering your name, I think this is a perfect lesson.
Stop! You gotta stop!
Kyokara Mao is another title that we've got coming out, which is it's like a romantic comedy. Basically, this guy gets flushed down the toilet. We all know what that's like. And
Growing up, it's always hard times at high school.
That's right. And he ends up in another world, not just the sewer.
So it's a magic toilet.
It is some sort of magic toilet, I believe so. Yes, some sort of parallel dimension.
Right.
And
does it make smells vanish as well?
That I'm not sure. They don't really get into that on the show. I would assume it does.
But what happens to him next after he gets his head flushed?
Well, he ends up in this alternate world, and there he's hailed as the Demon King, and it all sort of goes from there. He sort of gets into adventures from there, and accidentally gets engaged. I won't give it all away.
Something we can all relate to.
Yeah, well.
So it's basically a fantasy series, is that right?
Fantasy adventure series, that's right.
Sounds cool.
The band opening for you is a group called Bad Luck. Do you handle them as well?
We do, but I am not involved. Our Mr. Sakano is their manager.
I see. How are they?
I don't know. We'll find out at the clubhouse.
Ah! Shuichi, come on!
Perhaps their band is well named.
Gravitation is a series that a lot of people have also been waiting for a long time. This is a series that we actually had a petition for to release. We got hassled by fangirls mostly at various conventions around the nation, and we're really glad to be releasing it. It's the story of a boy band trying to hit the big time, and along the way discover love.
Now, can I just ask a question?
Yes.
One word comes to mind, and
Yes.
I might be off the mark, but does the word yaoi mean anything to anybody with regard to this title, or am I way off the mark?
It definitely means something with regards to this title. The aforementioned romance just so happens to be between one guy and another guy. So
there's a bit of boy love action.
That's right.
Yep.
Yaoi. This is as an example of yaoi, which is basically romances between two men. This is the example. If you've ever had an interest in the yaoi genre, and it's a comedy show and a romance, make sure you check this one out because this is the ultimate yaoi release. And if this one goes well, then maybe Madman will look at bringing out some more in the future.
And as well, I just want to mention that aren't we also releasing some really cool Gravitation merchandise to go with that title? Like we've got some plushies and some T-shirts.
As a matter of fact, we do. The merchandise is online now. You can get to it all from www.madman.com.au/gravitation. And from there, there's links to all the various bits and pieces we've got, including some really cool plushies that I'm pretty sure you've got one, haven't you, Scott?
I sure do. I cuddle up close to it every night and actually trying to get the dribble stains out.
That's what I heard.
Anime snack time, now with more nuts.
So that's it for new release titles. Just got a few other little bits of news which I'll get into with you guys now. Our acquisition for the month is Tree of Palm. This is a full-length feature release. It's basically like an anime retelling of the Pinocchio story. So that's the best way I can describe it. This one's still a good while off release, probably another 4 or 5 months before it'll be out. So stay
probably
tuned.
in the later half of this year, I take it.
Yep, later half of this year is about right. So stay tuned for more info on that one.
All right, and so Dean, I hear you went on a little trip recently.
Yeah, that's true. But we just come back from Tokyo Anime Fair, which is full on. It's a 4-day fair. The first 2 days are a business meet, and then the next 2 days are open to fans. And man, there's a lot of fans.
Is it a fanboy's dream, pretty much?
It sure is. I mean, like the thing that's a little bit frustrating about it as a fan attending is that a lot of the stuff is only in Japanese. I mean, well, in fact, pretty much all of it. I mean, all the screenings are obviously in Japanese and they're not subtitled, but a lot of the information boards around the place and stuff are in Japanese. It is primarily for a Japanese consumer. It's not like Comic-Con or something.
So they don't cater to gaijins at all.
Not so much. On the business day, they do a little bit more. They're obviously a bit keener to communicate to the guys going around who might be buying the shows what they can do for you.
So can I ask a question, Dean? Like compared to say something like AX, which is in Anaheim, America, you've got this as the absolute stronghold, the motherland expo. How does that sort of compare to say Australian sort of cons or the American cons? Is it just on a whole different level?
The Tokyo Fair?
Yeah.
The Tokyo Fair is I would say go to AX first as a fan. You should definitely go to AX first because that's 30,000 plus like-minded English-speaking anime fans.
Yeah, the communication barrier wouldn't really be there at AX at all.
Not at all. But here's what I would say to you. If you ever thought about visiting Tokyo, then even though it's a little bit cold, why not go to Tokyo Anime Fair and see a bit of the city at the same time? And it is open to the public for 2 days, and it's pretty full on. It's good fun.
I take it the anime production companies put a lot of effort into their booths and their sort of displays. I take it.
No, they sure do. Gonzo had a massive booth for Origin, which is their for Brave Story, which is their forthcoming feature release. Another massive stall was Ghibli's stall for Tales of Earthsea, which had a huge dragon head. It looked really cool. They go all out. It's sort of a big game of one-upmanship for most of the major companies, I think. Well, look, guys, that's just about it for the news. The only other thing I wanted to let everybody know is that right now there's a sale on the Anime Essentials. It's for a limited time only. It's only until the 17th of May. So if you're missing things in your collection like Ghost in the Shell, Ninja Scroll, Appleseed, this is the time to get online, check out the Anime Essentials sale. There's promo bubbles on the Madman website and pick yourself up a bargain.
Eastern Eye News with Gary Seven. Zang.
We're joined again by Gary Seven, Madman's podcast celebrity voice. He's the only man in here with an actual radio show, so he knows how to speak professionally and stuff.
Yeah, real proper in that. I'll learn you real good.
Excellent.
Just got back from a trip to the 10th International Hong Kong Film Market, so picked up a couple of good things there and some news on some new acquisitions. Very exciting stuff coming up. Perhaps next cast.
That's right. They'll have to tune back in to hear all about it.
But this month is it's huge. It's so big. It's called Godzilla. It's Godzilla Final Wars. I think it's the 4th time they've made the final movie in the series, but it looks like this one actually will be the final movie in, I think it's 27 or 28 films now. So more men in rubber suit action that you can poke a stick at.
So what's the basic storyline of this one, though?
The basic storyline is, it's very realistic, as most Godzilla films are. A bunch of aliens come down from outer space and release all of the other monsters. I think there's about 14 or 15 of them to destroy the world. And then suddenly the monsters disappear and the aliens try and make a deal with the Earthlings to say, basically, we're taking over your planet or release all the monsters. So the Earth people wisely wake up Godzilla. And he goes to, not just one town, he goes to many towns all over the globe. It's sort of the Matrix meets Godzilla. It's chock full of fights, and there's some exclusive Australian extras on there that we've created here at Madman.
I've just got a quick question for you, Gary. I don't understand. In the past, right, humans, Godzilla's had a problem, and he wakes up and he causes carnage, right? Mm-hmm. But in this one, he goes to bat for the humans, or is he really just like, well, hang on, these are monsters, and monsters aren't cool and they're on my turf? How does it work?
They kind of just wake him up and point him in the direction they want the destruction to go in, whether that's monsters or humans or whatever the case may be. And of course, if you want to learn more, you'll have to watch the film. But we've also got some exclusive Godzilla figurines from Toho in Japan have kindly given us some. So if you go to our brand new Godzilla website, godzilla.com.au, you can not only learn about all the Godzilla films, but you can go in the draw to win one of those figures as well.
All right, and you just almost mentioned some extra features that are exclusive to this release, so can you tell us a bit about them?
Yes, I can. We've got a Meet the Monsters gallery, so what you can go into is a section on the DVD where you can find out all the special powers for the monsters and all that kind of stuff.
Hey Gary, I went in there, right? And my mother-in-law was actually on one of those menus, but she's not in the movie.
She's not as ugly as you. Perhaps she'll be in there somewhere. We've also got a bunch of stuff in there where you can play selected scenes from the movie. We've got some filmographies. We've got all kinds of exciting stuff.
And it's not all just giant monster destruction action at Eastern, I understand. What else have you got coming out this month, Gary?
No, we've also got destruction and action Thai style. Bangrajan, or Bangratan, I'm told is the correct way to pronounce it, is a film from Thailand, which is actually based on a true story of when one small village held off about 100,000 invading Burmese in the 1700s, I think. And it's not for the faint-hearted and certainly not for little kids. It's a brutal exercise in carnage. I think Thai cinema, since Ong Bak, has figured out that if I put lots of exploding heads and arrows and impalings in a movie, that it will sell.
That works for anime too a lot of the time.
But it's quite an interesting story, and there's some historical documentaries and packed with features. I think it's apart from Ong Bak, it's probably the biggest DVD in terms of features. It's got an English dub, it's got commentaries, it's got interviews, all sorts of historical featurettes. It's pretty chockers and a hell-raising good story.
And what about the Chiba?
The Chiba is back. Not the Chiba is smoking, if you like to put it that way. Sonny Chiba has finally made his way down here, and they've remastered and rejigged all of these versions, so not the sort of $10 ones you've seen floating around that are all fuzzy. We've got a nice little box set with a fantastic cover with three Sonny Chiba movies in there, including the Street Fighter's Last Revenge. And for the film buffs out there, I think the Street Fighter was the first movie in America that was banned or given an X rating back in the early 70s just for violence alone. And it's certainly not as violent as some of the things we see today, but there's some very, very cool stuff. If you like your kung fu with flares and 70s waka chaka music, this is the stuff for you.
Now, Quentin Tarantino's a huge fan of Chiba, isn't he? Because he mentioned that in the screenplay for True Romance. Is that right?
It was in the film True Romance. It was referenced, and also the speech from the Bible in Pulp Fiction that Samuel L. Jackson gives is actually directly from a Chiba movie that you'll be able to see in the box set.
Isn't one of the movies also like a Golgo 13 film?
That's right. It's the live action of the Golgo 13 anime.
Yeah.
Lots of shooting and secret stuff with flares and 70s hairdos.
So run like a Chiba down to your store to pick up a copy.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Oh my god, it's anime snack time!
Okay, after last month's podcast, the Surgeon General had advised us that the testosterone level of the podcast was way too high, so they've advised that we add the 1 part estrogen to the podcast, and that's in the form of Amy Freeman.
She's heading up a new regular segment we've got for the monthly podcast, and what's it called, Scott?
It's called Raising the Profile of Anime in Australia with Amy Freeman.
Is that it? Is that really what it's called?
Uh-huh. And it's basically just what it is like a little roundup of a lot of the press that anime gets across the Australian media. So
that's right, because I guess it's part of what we do at Madman is it's like we want to raise the profile, we want to get it out there to everybody so they can all enjoy this thing that we enjoy. And Amy's kind of the boss of that.
Yeah, I kind of am.
So can you tell us a bit about what you do, Amy, like what's involved and what your title is and just the deal?
Yep, sure. I actually do the marketing, so I do all the stuff that we pay for. And work in conjunction with our PR manager, Ben, to make sure that people know about what we're releasing.
So what sort of magazines and stuff do you guys advertise in?
Hyper, PC Power Play, Empire occasionally for stuff like Ghost in the Shell, Innocence. What else? You know.
And do we do?
You guys should see it.
And you guys also do TV ads and stuff like that.
Yeah,
right?
we do. We do Cartoon Network. SBS quite a lot because of all the stuff that's been happening on SBS recently in particular, and they're the two major ones.
Okay, now what's the key, you're advertising anime and I guess it's not all just aimed at fans, right? You are trying to communicate why anime is cool to others too.
Yeah, definitely.
What's sort of the thinking? How do you do that?
I think that the art is really important to kind of convey that. An example is Australian Sky and Telescope have done a feature on Planet S and space junk, which is going to be out soon. And the artwork for that ad was the really cool image of the guy just hanging there in space. You guys have probably seen that by now, but that's a really good example of trying to appeal to a different kind of market.
Sure. So did you advertise Midori Days in Hand Puppet Weekly?
Yes, we did actually. Yeah.
And it was well received?
It was fantastic. It was really well received, yeah. Yeah, okay, no, we didn't. There's no such magazine.
Oh.
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 Why am I subscribed to it then?
It must be web only.
Oh, jeez. Not across that yet.
Okay, so do you want to maybe run us through some of the things that you guys have G'd up over the past couple of months, and just talk about some of the great features that some of the fans out there can go into the news agent and pick up or watch on TV or anything like that? So
yeah, sure. Well, I was going to talk about something that's already happened, but hopefully people went. Philip Brophy spoke about Gantz to sort of celebrate the release of his book 100 Anime.
That's right.
So if you guys are going to Supernova, which I think you are,
Aye.
then you'll be able to see 100 Anime there because we're going to be selling it. And it's a more cerebral kind of take on anime.
An intellectual otaku's night out.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's an absolutely awesome book. It's been a fabulous read for me.
It's fantastic. It's
an
almost
education.
It's almost like, yeah, that's right. And it's almost like a coffee table book.
Yep. Yeah, it is.
So have a coffee and you can learn about anime.
Learn about Blood the Last Vampire.
yeah, because there's a lot of titles in there that are relevant to Madman, aren't there?
Absolutely.
Actually released,
yeah, heaps.
So, yeah,
heaps.
it's not just all obscure stuff. There's actually a lot of relevant and new as well as old anime titles in there. So.
Yep, including Gangutsuo, obviously Ghost in the Shell, and then a whole lot of Ghibli stuff. It's really cool.
Sounds fantastic.
It's really cool.
And as well, you can buy that online, can't you? You can buy
yes,
that
you can.
From our...
Yep, you can.
Where can I get it from, Amy? Where?
Oh, I would say Madman's website.
Sick.
Cool.
Excellent. Hey, and as well, I just want to ask you another thing. I was Hyper apparently are doing the future recording to anime, and
really,
yeah, I heard about this on the grapevine. I was just wondering what that's all about.
Where did you hear that
It's
from?
on this run sheet I'm looking at.
Okay, so Amy, can you tell us about anything else that's happening in the media at the moment?
Yeah, you should check out May Empire, Ben, because there's a story which is the 20 greatest comic book movies. It's a feature in Empire for this month.
I'm guessing Daredevil's not in there.
I don't know, actually. Is it?
It's not anime related. Who cares?
So it's
I
basically
haven't seen
just
it,
the feature's basically just like all the best comic book adaptations that have made it to the big screen. Is that right?
Yep, that's right. And Akira is number 13.
Wow.
Not wanting to give it away, I won't tell you what number 1 is.
Lucky 13.
Yes, indeed.
Well, look,
yeah.
thanks, Amy. Really appreciate you coming in. It's been great,
Pleasure.
and it's certainly taught me a thing or two just having a woman close by. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks,
yeah,
I'm
we'll-
scared.
we'll
Get
see
me
you
out
next
of here.
month.
Okay, bye.
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 And now it's time for Anime Snack Time.
And it's time now for our feature story on podcast 2, a daring expose and behind-the-scenes look at Ghost in the Shell 2, our headline title for this month.
Innocence.
That's right.
Yeah, and basically what we want to do is we would just want to talk up our release and tell you all why it's pretty much just the best version of this DVD release in the entire world, in my opinion.
And that's not talking it up either. It really is the best release in the world.
And the reason why it's the best release in the world? Well, in fact, let's ask this question to our very own project manager of this release, the guy who brought it all together, our very own Clay.
Well, thank you, Dean. Well, yeah, I've seen the film several times now, and I was really excited to be able to actually get to work on it and just make it the ideal release of this film in the world, which is no lie at all. So, yeah, basically, you know, the film's awesome. Basically, there's no disputing that at all. Like, it's a fantastic film. It was released in the US with just the Japanese soundtrack with subtitles only. So we actually decided. As well, in the UK, it was actually released and with both an English and Japanese soundtrack as well. Yeah, we decided to design sort of our own cover and sort of steer away from the US release and actually use some of the original Japanese artwork.
And can I ask, Clay, what was the reasoning behind coming up with a different art? Because the American cover is... it's an interesting take on the film, isn't it?
It is. I think they've gone for more the action sort of sci-fi sort of look, and we decided from us seeing the film several times, we've wanted to sort of convey a different side of the film, because it's not just an action film. Basically, there's a lot more to it.
It mixes action with deep philosophical content.
That's right.
Very good. It's like you're reading from a slick, and he's actually not.
Yeah, and we've actually got a reversible slick which has two different pieces of artwork from the original Japanese creators. So, yeah, another interesting fact about the film was 4 years in the making, which is quite a long time. Took the guys a long time to sort of produce it, animate it, and just add all the finishing touches to the work. Yeah.
What's great about the film is it has a great rewatch value, because you watch it the first time and you sort of see the first layer, and then it's like, yeah, that's great, and then you kind of like, but what about this, and this, and so you got to watch it again to see the next layer. So it's sort of like a movie where, you know what, you'll pay the price to buy the DVD, but like with most DVDs, they go in your library. But with this, you'll pull it out, watch it again and again and again, years later, until it makes sense.
Yep, like I've actually watched the film 4 times, and I'm almost ready now to watch it again, basically.
Have you watched it with a dub at all?
Not yet, but I've heard bits and pieces of it, and it actually sounds good, because what they did is actually got the original voice actors from the series, I believe, Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex, to do a lot of the voice acting.
Have you watched it with a girl?
Huh?
Have you watched it with a girl?
No, I haven't. I watched it alone in my bedroom in the darkness.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
That's like how I watch all my films.
Hey, now, I wanted to ask you, Ben, you actually flew up to Sydney and met Oshii and Ishikawa, is that right?
Yeah, basically in October of 2004, this film actually was, premiered at the Sydney, I think Japan Foundation brought it out, and actually tied in this the release of this film with an exhibition of production IGs, a lot of their production work. They had an exhibition at the Japan Foundation, showed a lot of
for those
cells.
lucky Sydney fans.
Yeah, so it was a fantastic exhibition, and I was lucky enough to actually interview both Oshii and Ishikawa about the production of the film, which was a great experience. And
tell us about the great man himself. What was he like?
Oh, he was very humble, I guess, and he was happy to answer any questions, and he particularly liked the questions that were a bit deeper than just the average. What's the movie about? He liked being sort of probed about the sort of deeper content within the film. So.
And did he like being probed about his obsession with bloodhounds?
We actually asked him a question about that, which you'll be able to see on the DVD, and and he also talked about the sort of man's obsession with dolls, which is a big feature of the film as well. So he elaborated on that quite a bit. So
did he talk about man's obsession with maids at all?
No, he didn't touch on that actually.
And man's obsession with nachos.
The other question I have for you, what about Ishikawa-san, the president of IG?
Well, he was really enthusiastic, and he was very happy to talk. He's a very sort of fun guy, and he was great to interview as well. So we've got that interview, we've got the Oshii interview, and we've also got a UK interview which was conducted with Oshii-san as well. So that was great. And as well, we've also got and as well the producer of the film that was co-produced with Studio Ghibli's Toshio Suzuki. So that's a little interesting fact for you.
I got another little interesting fact for you.
Sure.
Oshii was apparently trained to be like some kind of religious guy, like a priest or something. It was like in the Western tradition. And something happened that he doesn't talk about, and he gave it up.
All right. And then he moved into production of animation.
Something like that.
Okay.
That's a true story.
Wow.
Anyway.
He's like the Kubrick of anime, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah. And some of the other extra features, there's a director's commentary on there. There's a trailer collection of the whole Ghost in the Shell series. There's a making of, and there's also a sample episode of Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex Episode 1.
And please forgive my my ignorance, but can you just tell me, Ben, how does this Innocence tie in with the first film and then Standalone Complex? Because isn't Standalone Complex like an alternative universe?
Yeah, I believe it's it's a separate So this
is like.
Yeah, it's not basically it's not the same as the series. Like it's a completely sort of different perspective on the.
It's
on
a
the
sequel
universe.
to the first film.
That's it,
right.
Exactly.
And the Major doesn't quite feature very much in this film at all. So,
but you'll have to watch the whole film to find out just how much she does or does not feature. And on that note, we hope you do watch the film.
It's awesome.
Thanks for coming in, Ben.
No worries.
See you, Ben.
Clay, I mean.
I'll see you in the next segment.
Welcome to Talking It Up. This week we're going to profile an interview that we did with a guy called Manfei at Anime Expo
2005
at Anaheim. So we flew all the way over to America just to meet this guy. Now, a little bit about this guy. There's a lot of hearsay conjecture about anime fans being a little crazy. Well, you haven't seen nothing yet, because Manfei is a very hairy man who cosplays as Bebop's Faye Valentine.
And haven't we all, fellas?
Well, only in the private moments. But it's not pretty, and the shorts are way too revealing. But anyway, Man-Faye was denied entry to Anime Expo in Anaheim 2005. We were lucky enough to find out why.
Go complain to AX staff that you want Man-Faye to be allowed in the con this year.
It's wrong. It's just wrong. You're the reason you're the best poster child against homosexuality in the world.
I'm not gay. What the f*** is that about? Crazy. You're the best poster child against homosexuality? What? Like I was just a punk. The basic definition of cosplay is just dressing up in a costume of one of your favorite characters from an anime that you're a fan of. And what's so cool about cosplaying is that when you come to an event like this, you can express your love of the character and your love of the genre and your own personality with a bunch of other people that are wanting to express themselves. And that's what makes it particularly bullshit that they're not letting me express myself. My name is Damon Evans from Laguna Beach, although I'm more popularly known as Man-Faye, due to me being a hairy man wearing a Faye from Cowboy Bebop costume that I've been wearing for the last 4 years. And last year they started giving me a little trouble, but this year they're not even letting me register for the con. They're not even letting me in, which is ridiculous because I've had thousands of fans already go by saying that they love me and they want me in their cons. Yeah, I even have t-shirts available.
Yeah, so basically what Faye?
Well, because all my friends are fans of Cowboy Bebop, and we just thought it'd be funny. One of my friends had a really nice Spike costume done, and I was just like, who will I be? Yeah, whatever, I'll be Faye. And everyone laughed, and I was like, you know what, that would be funny. And so I started doing it, and I came, and for 2 years I had no problems with anybody. And then last year they started giving me a little trouble, but I was pretty much still allowed to be in. And then this year they had 5 security guards waiting for me and wouldn't even let me register.
And now he's back.
And I'm going to be here on public property where nobody can do anything about me because I'm not breaking any laws. Until I'm going to try and get enough people to complain. No riots.
We have to riot.
No riots.
No riots. Then we'll do a
Man-Faye does not endorse, condone any sort of riot, civil disobedience, blocking of fire exits, anything like that.
On camera. Okay then. How about we just get a little mob, go over and complain all at once?
That would work, but make sure the mob doesn't get out of control.
Just run us through your costume, man.
Well, basically it's the short shorts, which are near perfect replicas of what the character wears in the show, except that of course I have to have a little bit extra room, a little extra gusseting to keep my particular anatomy in check while in the outfit, which I care about. I don't want to be, I don't want to be indecent. Basically, as accurate a fake costume as I could come up with.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Madman Entertainment of Australia. Happy birthday to you.
No.
All right, so if you want to find out more about Man-Faye, you can do a search on him on Wikipedia, and he's also got his own MySpace page, which is www.myspace.com/man_Faye. Faye, of course.
And it'd be great if anyone could go visit him, visit his site, and help him get into Anime Expo this year because he's a big fan and he deserves to go.
My eyes are still burning.
Danny C's Crazy Comps.
And now we're joined by the man whose name contains all 27 letters of the alphabet, Daniel Klabovchek. What do you got for us, Daniel?
I have, first of all, the announcement of the winner from last month's competition for the podcast.
Yes.
And that is Cameron Myers. Congratulations. We're going to be sending you out 3 cosplay caps.
God damn it, I ended that contest.
Oh, well, next time. Okay. Perhaps you can have a creative answer to this one. This month, we have the new range of Full Metal Alchemist merch, and today...
I believe the merch is coming out in June, so this is like a little sneak chance to get your hands on something, yeah?
That's right, you get it early.
Before anybody else.
And that's what you want. This month, you can win a Full Metal Alchemist cap, and just for free, we're chucking in a Initial D Truckers cap. So if we actually get a response from any real truckers, that'd be a bonus. So the Full Metal Alchemist cap question is, what is the youngest of the Elric brothers' preferred form of headgear? It's kind of a trick question. So what is Alphonse Elric's preferred form of headgear? Will accept multiple answers.
I'm guessing it's not a stack hat, right?
Multiple answers. Is it
Yes.
one of those like pointy wizard hats?
You'd have to actually enter the competition and win it for me to answer you.
Oh, man.
And can I just say as well, like, because we all have to manually go through and read all these answers, if you make your answer novel, interesting, or perhaps include your bank details, no, don't include your bank details, but maybe just, we've got to wade through this stuff. So if you're sending in an answer to these competitions, for God's sakes, make it entertaining for us to read.
And where would one send said answer to said contest?
Only one place. That's snacktime@madman.com.au. Get them in.
Thanks for coming in.
Hello and welcome to Dr. Tan's Sweet Scoops. Oh yeah.
Of all the features we did last month, the one that got the most positive feedback was Dr. Tan's Sweet Scoops. And you know what? We've got him over from Patagonia to come back and report on some new anime stuff.
Rightio. Okay, thanks, Scotty. Now, production is underway by Madhouse Studios in animating a new series called Black Lagoon, full of hot, dangerous women and gun-toting actions. Boys, if you like your anime with, and I quote, your guns cocked and your girls stacked, be sure to take heed of this one. The main character, Revy, is a pistol-packing, hot pants-wearing... Anyone remind me of Faye? Anyway, huge double-barreled beauty, and she also carries a nice pair of guns as well. Storyline is something about, pirates and kidnapping and smuggling and secret family organizations. Need I remind anyone? Chicks and guns. Hey, what else do you need? So be sure to put your clamps on this one. Now, speaking of clamp, a XXX clamp. Something a little bit more sensitive, maybe for the female audiences out there. Now, or maybe just with, for us sensitive new age guys. XXX Holic movie has debuted in Japan over the summer, and the TV series is due to start airing in Japan also next month. Now, of course, Clamp are very famous for Chobits, but also titles like Angelic Layer and X. Now, the story is about Kimihiro Watanuki. By the way, he's a good friend of Haley Joel Osment because they both see dead people. And he seeks not Bruce Willis, but a strange and mysterious shop owner named Yuko Ichihara to sort out his problems. So he goes along and she works his mojo on him. But the price of it is that... From that point on, he has to work in her little kooky, mysterious shop, and thus begins our tale. And last of all, last week I took a ride on a magical cat bus last week, and who do I see? Surprise, surprise, my old mate, neighbour Totoro. He tells me that they're doing a new title called Tales from the Earthsea, based on the Earthsea series by Ursula K. Le Guin. A tale between humans and dragons is directed by Miyazaki, but not by Hayao Miyazaki, but by his son, Goro Miyazaki.
Mini Miyazaki.
Yes, that's right, the very mini Miyazaki. And as such, he has posted a director's blog about the production of the movie, which you can find at www.nausicaa.net/Miyazaki/Earthsea. Alright, and that's it from me this week. Take these, and these, and these, and call me in the morning.
Come on, Jeanette. It's not all about tax reform. Anime snack time.
Okay, so now it's time to answer your questions that you've sent to snacktime@madman.com.au over the last month or so. And we've got all sorts of responses from you guys. In fact, the response is pretty big.
Yeah, I'd say overwhelming almost. We're going to try and answer all of them via email, but we're going to pick a select few and answer them here. And the selected questions actually get a $10 voucher, which we'll let you know about via email.
Cool, what's that $10 voucher for?
It's to use on the Madman online store. So
that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's good. So get your questions coming in, and we'll if we announce them, you'll be a lucky buyer.
That's right. Now this is the two that we've chosen. This is not to say that these were, there are lots of good questions. So do keep the questions coming. If yours doesn't get picked, it will get an answer regardless. So here is our first question for today's podcast.
I just listened to your podcast and I thought it was awesome, and I hope you can make some more because I really enjoy listening to it. I was wondering if Full Metal Alchemist was going to come out in a box set of the series and not just the limited edition tins. Thanks, your faithful listener, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Yes,
Steve.
It is going to come out in a box set. It'll probably be in the middle of next year sometime. It's still a while off, so we've got to get the whole series released. And then we like to leave about at least 6 months between the end of the series and when we release the box. So I think currently Volume 13 is due out like in December or something like that.
Yep, and we've all still got one more tin to go, I guess, of the three.
Of the 3 tins.
Yep.
So do look out for that around about middle of next year. Next question.
Hello. There have been rumours about a new dot hack, and I would like to ask, A, whether this is true, and B, where does it take place in the dot hack timeline, i.e. after dot hack dusk and the game, or before dot hack sign?
Well, Cameron.
Oh, sorry, Cameron Myers, who was also the winner of the cosplay caps.
So, yes, well done to Cameron. He not only won our comp last month completely randomly, he also got selected for a question. The answer to your question is, yes, there is a new dot hack series. I believe it's called Dot Hack Roots, and it is set after all of it. So it's like a brand new series. It's set after everything you've seen before, and you'll be sure to want to check it out. And you can probably check it out from us at some point in 2007.
And just for all you guys out there that don't know anything about dot hack's all about kind of like an alternative kind of electronic world, kind of like the Matrix, like an online gaming thing. Is that right, Daniel?
That's right. So it's a whole it's what they call in Japan a whole media mix.
Right, because
situation.
There's games and there's all sorts, right?
Games and manga and anime, so it's
it's a bit of a phenomenon.
If you're interested, you should check out Dot Hack Sign or Dot Hack Legend of the Twilight, which are on release right now.
Oh, go check it out right now. See ya.
All right, so that email again, snacktime@madman.com.au. Get your questions flowing and get them into us.
Every question gets an answer. Select few get a $10 voucher to boot.
And I just want to quickly mention another way to get in touch with us is via our MySpace page, which has just been set up recently. It's www.myspace.com/anime-snacktime.
Listen up, y'all. It's time now for Pretty Fly for a Sly Guy.
Welcome, Sly. Give us the rundown on the convention happenings in Australia.
All right. Well, we've got 3 conventions coming up. Well, not 3, 2 actually, coming up this month.
3 events.
3 events. Yes, okay. I should say 3 events. First up, we have Piano Stories 3, brought to you by Eminence, which is happening Saturday the 15th of April in Melbourne. So that's Easter Saturday. And on Saturday the 22nd of April in Sydney, featuring music from the Final Fantasy series and Studio Ghibli and more. Tickets are now available at Books Kinokuniya in Sydney and the National Theatre in St Kilda if you're in Melbourne. Tickets are from $19.95, and look, if you've enjoyed any of the other Eminence concerts, you are sure to enjoy this one. Nice little piano recital.
Yeah, I got along to one last year. It was great.
Absolutely. For more information, visit www.eminenceonline.com for more details.
Excellent. What else is happening?
All right. What else is happening? Sticking to Melbourne for the time being, Annie Marathon, which is being brought to us by the Monash Caulfield Anime Club. That is happening at, of course, the Monash Caulfield campus on the weekend of April 29th and 30th. Anime screenings, J-pop music, and Japanese food, and then there's also some video games as well. $10 to get you in for the whole weekend. Madman will be there, of course, selling our wares, and of course come to say hi to us, to the Snack Time team as well. And you can find more information at www.mcac.org.au.
And for those enhanced podcast listeners, we'll actually be providing links. So if you're using iTunes, you'll be able to click on the actual link and go directly to that link that Sly just mentioned.
That's right. Look to your left.
So what else have you got, Sly?
All right. Well, here's the big event for this month, and that's happening in Brisbane. Supernova Brisbane, happening at the RNA Showgrounds on the weekend of April 21 to 23. Now, we've got a lot of special guests coming to this one, including director Anthony Lucas, who did Jasper Morello, Mike McFarlane, who was the voice of Master Roshi, and the director of Full Metal Alchemist, the English language version. And, of course, both of these guys will be signing at the Madman Mega Booth.
It's going to be huge.
It's going to be a huge booth.
It's going to be mega.
Mega, hence the word Mega Booth. And, of course, Sean Schemmel, who was the voice of Goku and the ADR director for both Midori Days and Oh My Goddess TV, surprisingly.
Oh, there you go. People may not be aware of that stuff.
No. Well, so there you go. Something to ask him. He'll be signing at the Mr. Toys World booth. And, of course, helping us out host the Kamehameha contest and a whole slew of other activities.
What about announcements? You got any big announcements planned?
Well, we've got some huge announcements planned, but I guess we'll just go through a bit of a rundown through what's happening throughout the weekend as well. Friday night will be the preview night, so if you bought a weekend pass, you can actually come to the event on Friday night, get in at 6 o'clock, and check out a preview of Petit Cosette, and also see talks, and also was it Jasper Morello is being played, and also check out talks from Richard Taylor from Weta. Maybe even prod a bit more about Evangelion live action movie, and of course King Kong and all that. There's going to be a charity auction as well, which I'd like to mention, with all proceeds going to help the Cyclone Larry Relief Fund. So definitely put up some good dollars for these anime voice actor memorabilia, going towards a very good cause. And of course, throughout the weekend, we have a lot of other things, trivia, karaoke, Iron Artists, and more. Cosplay as well, of course, both Saturday and Sunday.
And also, tell us about your website where we can find out about all this information.
Oh, of course, yeah, absolutely. For more information, check out www.supernova, that's supanova.com.au. And of course, tickets are available now from Ticketek. And of course, kids under 12 are free with a paying adult.
Huge. Sounds like a great event.
Absolutely.
Anime snack time.
Strength to strength, boys. Strength to strength. Here we are at the end of our second podcast. I would say a massive improvement on the first near perfect podcast.
Absolutely. I think that was a huge improvement. What do you reckon, Scott?
I reckon it was cool.
Well, let's look forward to continued improvements as we, your Madman podcast hosts, stride forward and bring you more anime news and events and stuff.
All right, so you can check us out at www.madman.com.au/snacktime, or you can email us at snacktime@madman.com.au.
And don't forget the MySpace page.
Of course, myspace.com/anime snacktime.
See you next month.
Bye. For more information on the products and news featured in this podcast, please visit www.madman.com.au. Keep an eye on www.madman.com.au/snacktime for future podcasts. Views and opinions expressed are not necessarily those of Madman Entertainment. This podcast is copyright 2006 by Madman Entertainment.